Hello, I'm Susan Regier, and welcome to today's webinar, How to Spin Up Free Publicity for Your Business so you can easily get showcased in newspapers, magazines, radio, and television to get instant credibility, attract more customers, and drive more traffic to your website. Specifically, I'm going to share how to uncover a newsworthy angle that will capture media attention, the two big mistakes that guarantee your story will never get you any publicity, and how to write and structure your media release to stand out from all the others that are sent. And the media gets hundreds of them each day. But first, I wanted to share a little bit about my background. For more than 22 years, I've helped businesses like yours be incomparable, irresistible, and unforgettable. I'm a professional copywriter, business coach, and brand storyteller. And over the years, I've had the privilege of helping thousands of entrepreneurs create profitable businesses and become leaders in their industry. Plus, I've had the opportunity to write for some pretty cool brands, including Scotch brand tapes, Post-it notes, Harley Davidson, and Steel Power Tools, among many others. As a copywriter, I've helped my clients get front page exposure in newspapers and premium columns in magazines, plus radio and television spots in primetime news. A few years ago, one of my clients was very skeptical of what I could do for his business. He didn't really believe that a one-page media release, also known as a press release or news release, the names are the same, he didn't believe it could really make a difference. And boy, did I prove him wrong in such a good way. To be completely transparent here, one of the big reasons he didn't believe me was because he was my big brother. Literally, I was his younger sister and told him I could help him attract a lot of exposure for his business. So I wrote and sent out a media release. Within 24 hours, he had a television crew on his doorstep filming a spot for the 6 p.m. news. And that led to many news stories in various newspapers as well. After his interview, he asked the news reporter how many media releases they received in a day. And he was told they got nearly 400 each day. So then he asked, "Do you read them all?" And he was assured that they do. So when he asked why they picked theirs to do the story, the reporter said it was relevant and it was well written. And I thought, yes, cha-ching, I proved him wrong in a good way. So you never know where the story will go and how it will affect your business. Here's a case in point on free publicity. A brilliant tourism ad came out of Queensland, Australia in 2009. It was brilliant because it not only created an emotional frenzy, which persuaded readers to take immediate action, but it also turned a $1 million classified ad campaign into a value of about $110 million of media exposure. And that's just for starters. The challenge was to create international awareness of the islands of the Great Barrier Reef and execute a global tourism campaign on a classified ad budget. And they decided to offer a prize that would capture the imagination of people all over the world. They created the entire campaign. It looked like a classified ad with the headline, "The Best Job in the World." The job description was for a 6-month contract to be caretaker of Hamilton Island in the Great Barrier Reef. Duties included taking out the garbage, picking up the mail, walking the dog, feeding the fish, and reporting about the experience while there. And the job came with a 3-bedroom, rent-free beach house, a pool, golf cart, and a salary of $110,000. The classified ad was placed in newspapers and travel agencies around the world. Applicants were asked to post a 1-minute video on the Queensland website explaining why they were the person for the job. The results were overwhelming. First, the best job in the world story broke on Reuters at sunrise and was picked up by press right around the world. Within 2 days, there were over 1,100 television stories on US stations alone. There would eventually be 6,000. Queensland website received 400,000 hits within the first 30 hours, and they hit 1 million on day 2. Within 48 hours, they had received 7,500 job applications. A video showcasing the islands of the Great Barrier Reef was viewed over 300,000 times, and when the 6-week application window finally closed, Queensland had received more than 8 million hits and 34,000 job applications. At least one person from every country in the world had applied. The winner, a man from the UK, then blogged about his experience, which generated press and essentially marketed Queensland's for the next 6 months. It all starts with a newsworthy idea. But let me be clear, publicity is not about you. It's about giving editors what they need to create a strong story. In other words, you're making their job easier by giving them exactly what they need to create a compelling piece. And getting free publicity for your business is a bonus. A media release is often your only opportunity to make a great first impression and capture media attention. But newspapers, magazines, trade publications, television, and radio, they receive truckloads of them. So you have to make yours stand out. Let's begin with talking about what publicity is. And basically, it's the polar opposite of advertising. First, it's believable. It positions you as an expert. It multiplies. Often, when you're profiled in one publication, you'll be featured in other media. It creates more word of mouth. It separates you from your competition. Publicity increases the effects of all your advertising. It boosts sales. And best of all, it's free. A news story in a local or national publication can give more details about your business in a way that allows your expertise to show through. People skim through the advertisement sections, but they read the articles. After all, that's why they purchased the publication in the first place. So, how does it start? With a well-written media release. Let me explain what that is and how you can write one that gets note. A media release is a prepared news story that you write and send to the media. If it contains the type of useful information an editor needs, your chance of spinning up publicity is powerfully increased. By finding the right twist and hooking the editor, you will get noticed. The editor may reprint a section, or in some cases, the entire release. Of course, that depends on how well you write it. An entire story could be written about you, or it may be used as background information for an article already in the works. But simply sending out a media release is no guarantee that you will be interviewed for a front page story, or any page for that matter. Timing, other current events, and what you actually say in your release plays a big part. There are two big mistakes that guarantee your story will never get you any publicity. Number one, you don't have the right hook. And number two, you contacted the wrong people. So I'm going to tell you how to avoid these two huge mistakes. First, let's talk about the right hook. What is newsworthy in your business? Simply put, why would anyone care? It is the job of editors and producers to publish their newspaper or magazine or air their television or radio show. They entice people to subscribe, watch, or listen, and encourage advertisers to pay for ads. Their job is not to promote you, unless you're one of their paid advertisers, that is. When you think about the stories you read in the newspaper, what is it that captures your attention? What makes it interesting for you? Now turn that thought process inward. What is it about you or your business that would be of interest to others? To uncover your newsworthiness, think about your ideal customer, your target market. Put yourself in his or her shoes and ask, what would make me excited? What would make me want to learn more? For you to become successful today, you must provide your customers with an experience focused on the basic fundamentals of human nature. What experience are you offering, and how can you use that to spin up publicity for your business? Here are a few ideas to get your thoughts spinning. What are you doing differently? Are you giving things away, bringing in speakers, or offering a unique experience to your customers? Is there anything in your background interesting that you can tie in? Trips you have taken that have added value to your service. For example, a life coach that has backpacked around the globe, studied with the Buddhist monks, swam with the sharks, and discovered the importance of living in harmony with nature has a unique story to spin on helping clients find inner peace. Or maybe that background can be shared about a speaker or event coordinator you're bringing into your location to attract specific clients. Can you tie your offerings into a world trend Or is there a local angle to a national event? When Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans in 2005, small town businesses across North America banded together to collect, sort, and ship tons of food, clothing, and equipment. Employees at local hotels and restaurants pitched in and helped stranded visitors. A media release not only gets the word out that this is being done so others can help, it also gets your name in the news. So, what's happening in the world around you, and how does it affect your customers? Narrow the search, what's changing in your market, and who could it affect? Human interest aspects can be used to spark interest. This could include the struggle and the victory of developing a new event or attraction. And the people behind the scenes can be instrumental in capturing emotion and attention. Perhaps you can use a story of one of your customers. Think of this. You never read stories about students graduating high school. It's common. But if that person is 90 years old, there is a human interest element to the story that makes readers want to know more. Now let's look at the second big mistake, your audience. You don't want to send your media release to the wrong people. When you consider your ideal client, which newspapers and magazines do they read? Which television shows do they watch? And which radio stations do they listen to? Sift through these media outlets to find which ones fit your story. Sending a media release indiscriminately to every editor of every newspaper and magazine will get you nowhere quickly. You will soon make a name for yourself, and not a good one at that. Most people have their company in mind when considering a media release. They think about what they are doing and how they are doing things differently than their competitors. But editors have their audience's interest top of mind. To be effective, consider the journalist perspective. An editor will be reading your media release to see if it is of interest to his or her defined audience. So look at your story objectively. If you're opening a new retail store that affects the local community, send it to the local media. However, if you're promoting a huge attraction that will bring people in from across the country or even have a global impact, you'll opt for national or international exposure. And the human interest behind the story will spawn various angles and stories in different publications. Who benefits from your news? A small local audience or all of mankind? And please be honest with yourself when you answer. As I said earlier, please keep in mind that publicity is not about you. It's about giving editors what they need to create a strong story. In other words, you're making their job easier by giving them exactly what they need to create a compelling piece and getting free publicity for your business as a bonus. Too often, the distribution of many media releases boils down to the equivalent of spamming. To avoid this, know what you are trying to accomplish with your media release and who it is relevant to, as I've just discussed. It does take time to create a targeted media list, but the effort is worth it. Research the editors, journalists, freelance writers, and producers inside those publications and programs that work on stories relating to your industry. But always keep in mind that their priority is their audience, not promoting you. No matter how great your release is, if you don't send it to the right editor, it's not going to do you any good. So you've got to build a targeted list. So consider all types of media, from print to television or radio. The contact names are usually posted on websites and newspapers' mastheads. And in addition to the editors for each section, go through newspapers and magazines and look for the freelance writers and journalists who cover your type of story. Like, for example, business or gardening, travel, lifestyle, entertainment, sports. Their contact information is often included with their stories on their website, or you may have to call and ask for it. May have to pick up the telephone to find the right contact as well. As for the name for the person who is the best source for your type of story. So, for example, call your local newspaper and tell the person answering the phone that you are sending a media release regarding whatever type of story it relates to, and then ask who would be the most appropriate contact and what's their email address and direct telephone number. Chances are you may get transferred directly to his or her extension, and you can pitch the story first if the person is available. So be prepared for a conversation. Don't make the call when you know you have an appointment in 5 minutes. Also, find out the deadline for each publication. Monthly magazines may have a 2-week or 2-month lead time, while a radio broadcast may only need half an hour. So you want to organize your delivery so that each organization will release the story at the same time. Periodically, you're going to want to check to make sure your media list is current. As in any industry, people move, change positions, or simply retire. Now you're probably thinking, this sounds like a lot of work. After all, your media release is relevant to newspapers across the country, not just your hometown. You're looking at this and think, it would take you hours and hours to find all of this information. First of all, are you sure it is relevant to a larger audience? Does your media release really contain newsworthy information that would be of interest to someone living in another province, another state, or even another country? If you can honestly answer yes, let's simplify the process. Wouldn't it be simpler if you could send one media release out to one person or organization and be done with it? Well, it can be that simple, but it comes with a price tag. First, you have to pay for the service. And second, you miss the opportunity of networking the media to begin building a relationship for further publicity down the road. But there are advantages you must consider. These contacts are known and respected, so you could be increasing the chance of getting seen. In Canada, every province has their own newspaper distribution association. So for a fee, you can send your media release to one association and they will forward it, once approved, to all the media in that province. Or for press distribution worldwide, check out Cision. They distribute your media release through PR Newswire to get it out nationally. Plus, Cision has recently purchased PRWeb. This is a great website to get your media release out to editors who are actively looking for your stories and to drive traffic to your website. It's the best site, actually. PRWeb is a do-it-yourself publicity asset that shares your news to the web, social networks, and the media. It takes your story and turns it into an online news article with a headline, body copy, and images. It then distributes your story to news sites, search engines, journalists, bloggers, and prospects. Online media releases show up on the search engines that your prospects use when they're shopping or looking for news. By optimizing your release with keywords, you can make sure that your story gets to the people you want to reach. Media releases also generate publicity within journalists and bloggers who use search engines and social media to research sources, trends, and stories. Almost all journalists Google to do their job, and media releases are an ideal way to reach them. Journalists register for specific topic areas, and media releases are sent directly to their email through the PRWeb RSS feeds. The costs vary depending on the level of exposure, going from basic at $99, standard $189, to the advanced at $289 and premium $389. And obviously these rates can change at any time. In 2018, I chose the standard media release package to send my media release out about my Soulful Writers Retreat for Women. In this standard package, I really got some great exposure. It sent it out to all of the search engines that Google, Yahoo, etc., major online news sites, more than 250,000 PRWeb RSS feed subscribers, and 30,000 journalists at the time. I was able to choose 5 different industries and 3 regions to send it out. And, it was really great. So I just wanted to share what happened with this one media release. So first, let's just take a look at it. So this is the media release that I sent it out. And as you can see, it's got the headline at the top, Soulful Writers Retreat for Women on Lake Huron Shores. Then the sub-headline, this 3-day retreat is open to all writers, regardless of experience of type of writing, etc. There's the date line and the place. That was March 29th, 2018. And it has that big pull quote. So the perfect mix of structured creative writing exercises, exploration with conscious writing techniques, soulful sharing with the group, and fun. And then, of course, the media release. So that's what it looked like. And I sent that out on that date. And within 24 hours, 22,702 headline impressions were seen. That's within 24 hours. 607 people read the full media release, and 4 days after posting, 50,000 people over 50,000 had read the headline, and 921 people had read the full media release. And then 7 days later, it was up to 71,738 headline impressions, and 1,113 people read the full media release. So this is a great way to get amazing exposure for your media. You just pick one. I chose the standard rate. Generally, I actually do usually choose the standard, so it depends on what type of coverage you're wanting, but it is a great way to get your media release out online. Now let's take a look at the writing style for your media release. So you always want to keep your audience in mind as you write. This is the journalistic style, which means you must write in the third person. That is referring to you and your business in the third person. So for example, you write ABC Company and not my business. Of course, you want to make sure all your information is factual and relevant to your audience. If necessary, provide statistics and or quotes that substantiate the information you provide. Media releases are meant to be informational, not full of marketing hype that lacks substance. So avoid overused, meaningless words such as spectacular, one of a kind, cutting edge, incredible, unique, state of the art, etc. You want to limit the industry jargon, abbreviations, and acronyms because chances are they're not going to be understood by anybody else. You want to present your facts clearly, and please proofread, read it out loud. It's only one page, so read it backwards, and you're going to be sure to catch any mistakes that spell check has missed. So let's look at how long it should be. You want to keep the body length to between 300 and 500 words. Never have it more than 2 pages. 1 page is preferred. And you want to keep the paragraph short, 3 to 4 sentences per paragraph. That's actually the way most of your marketing should be as well. Always keep them short. There's 7 basic elements when it comes to writing your media release. So number 1, the dateline, which is the time, like the day that you're sending it out, and you say for immediate release. The headline, obviously, that's really important, and we'll look at that in just a minute. The location, so where you are. If your story is relevant to another city and you are sending it to that city, you have to make sure that there's a reason why it's relevant to that city as well. Then you've got the lead paragraph, the body, and the ending. You want to end your media release with -30- or XXX so that they know that it's closing. This is a traditional journalistic closing. The -30- actually dates back to the Civil War. The telegraphers tapped XXX at the end of a transition, the Roman numeral for 30, and it has still stuck with on for media releases. And of course, please do not forget your contact information, your email, your phone number, your, if you can text, your website, all of your, and your name. Don't forget your name. So include all of that contact information at the bottom. So there you can see what it looks like. The dateline at the very top, then the headline, the location. This again is the example of the entire media release that I sent out locally and also through PRWeb. And at the end, it has the -30- and then of course the contact information. So the paragraph structure, when we're looking at writing a media release, you want to write it in the form of an inverted pyramid with all the main points at the top and less important information further down. So the opening, there's a rule of 10 to consider. Editors will likely give you a 10-second glance to see if your topic is newsworthy. That means your first 10 words had better say something enticing. Your opening paragraph must hook the reader and concisely state the purpose of your media release. In other words, what is your news and why is it important? The first paragraph must seamlessly weave key information that answers 6 questions, 6 critical questions. Who is doing it? What are they doing? When are they doing it? Where are they doing it? Why are they doing it? And how are they doing it? Depending on your news angle, maybe only 5 of these 6 questions may be necessary, but be sure to include the juiciest news up front. So as an example, when I said I sent out a media release for my brother, this is what I put on it, on that opening paragraph. I stated, MTS Environmental Products is delivering a radically different approach to the way municipalities, food service industries, campgrounds, and homeowners deal with wastewater treatments. And it's completely natural. Their latest product, Biodissolve, has been proven effective to restore the natural balance of microbial life and is now being manufactured and bottled in their new plant located in Exeter, Ontario. Simple as that. Got all of that in one paragraph. So the next is the powerful headlines. The headline is the first thing that is read, and it may be the last thing you write. There is no rule when to write the headline. So write it whenever it feels right for you. A powerful headline must hook a busy editor at first glance, while at the same time honestly convey the content of the media release. In fact, the headline may be the only thing an editor reads, so make sure it's a good one. What words about your story will impact readers? Think of the words that a reporter would use. So sensationalize it if necessary, but forget the hype. It may help to familiarize yourself with the headlines in the newspapers and magazines you're planning to submit your media release to too. So here's a few suggestions to keep in mind. Make it clear. Never confuse the reader. Make it relevant. Your headline must relate to the key points in your story. Target your audience. It must be exciting and enticing. What's your ooh-ah factor, and how can you tie it into the headline? And minimize your words. It should be short and to the point. Try for 10 words or less, or 50 to 60 characters for online distribution. Back in 2007, when a local entrepreneur designed a new sling to easily carry babies, I created a media release with this headline: Young Mom Manufactures Baby-Wearing Gear for Parents. I posted the media release to PRWeb, and the Jay Leno Show contacted me about getting my client on the show. So in some instances, you may also want to add a subhead message to help to clearly communicate and support your message. So for example, when I did the one on my writer's retreat, the headline was Soulful Writer's Retreat for Women on Lake Huron. And the notice it's not in total capitals, but the subheadline was the 3-day retreat is open to all writers, regardless of experience of type of writing. They will discover how to make their writing more real, more captivating, more entertaining, and more soulful for their readers. And then there's the pull quotes. So that pull quote is a brief and powerful statement that is relevant to your release and adds impact. Quotes are an ideal place to put a marketing pitch. A good quote should emphasize benefits and add detail. So make it interesting and punctuate properly. So in the PRWeb media release that I showed before, we call it a pull quote because it actually made it larger. They pulled it out and made that huge. So from a participant's testimonial, I added to the release the perfect mix of structured writing exercises, exploration, and conscious writing techniques, soulful sharing with the group, and fun. And of course, as I mentioned before, don't forget your contact information. So before you send it, I want to share a final checklist. After writing your media release, read through it carefully. You should be able to answer yes to the following questions. Is it new and is it newsworthy? Yes. Are the main points at the top? Does it follow the inverted pyramid pattern? Have you kept it to 1 page in length, or at least no more than 2 pages? Is it short, sharp, and simple? Do you have an interesting headline that is relevant to your angle? Have you removed all cliched terms, jargon, generalizations, and blatant commercialism? Does it include interesting quotes and give the spokesperson's full name? Does it provide a contact name and contact details for further questions? Are your facts accurate? Have you proofread for spelling, grammar, and punctuation? Have you circulated a copy to anyone in the campaign who may be contacted? Are you ready with a secondary hook to discuss in your follow-up calls? Have you removed all pronouns such as I, we, us, our, your, etc., except in direct quotes? Did you include all relevant information so nothing is left to guess about? And will you be ready when the media calls, even if that call comes a year from now? I know I've covered a lot of ground and given you a lot of information, but there's so much more I could have covered. So before I end today's webinar, I want to tell you about my 360-degree media release handbook. It's everything you never knew about spinning up publicity for your business. It's a 52-page ebook with accompanying MP3 audio you can download immediately that gives you the total spin you need to know about getting publicity, including a simplified step-by-step writing template. I cover more in-depth details than what I was able to cover on today's webinar. Plus, I give you an easy way to create powerful headlines that capture attention. I go over how to send your media release and when to send it for the best response rates. I talk about when to use a media kit and how to put it together. I'm going to share tips for talking with the media, what you need to know when working with photographers, and how to recycle your media release to get more mileage out of it. This 360 media release handbook is only $47, and it comes with a no risk full money back guarantee, which you can request anytime for up to an entire year from purchase if you are not completely satisfied. To get it, go to howtowriteamediarelease.com and you will see all of the information there. I want to thank you for joining me on the call today. Now it's your turn to get down to business and spin up publicity for your business. Cheers for now.